Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomansing. Topping our newscast, the Hovenza refinery has officially been finalized. The government has received more than $200 million in cash Monday, and already Governor Mapp has started directing where the money should go. Here's more on the allocations so far and what one lawmaker has to say about it. News 2's April Knight has the story.
If you're a taxpayer still waiting for your refund, that could happen by the end of the week, according to Government House. Governor Mapp has just ordered the release of $22 million in tax refund money from the $220 million cash up front that the VI government got from the closing of the Hovenza sale. Government House made the announcement Monday that ArcLight and Hess have closed the deal and moved the promised $220 million to the VI government's account. The governor already appropriated more than half of the money. Apart from the tax refunds, $15 million will go toward the government's line of credit. $11 million will pay WAPA for outstanding streetlight bills, and $20 million in attorney and professional fees for the tax dispute and transaction costs for the operating agreement. $25 million will reverse the 5% cut that government agencies suffered across the board in the 2016 budget. The sale was finalized and the $220 million turned over to the VI government merely days after a divided Senate ratified the ArcLight agreement. Now, one lawmaker who supported the deal cautions the governor to spend the money wisely.
It's really not that great, that amount of money that it cannot finish. At some point in time, it can easily be finished. We can spend it in a day. We can spend it in a week, definitely.
Senator Gene Ford was one of 10 lawmakers who voted up the agreement. He says it's a one-time deal and the money is bound to run out.
Make sure that we take some of the monies, make sure that we put it aside as an investment and perhaps live off of some of the interest. I reference education as being one of the things. If you really want to go to college and you have exhausted all of the Pell Grants and all of the other opportunities that are affordable, whatever is left, the government picks it up.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Again, those tax refunds are expected as early as the end of this week, according to Government House. The Senate wants to clear the air about the Community Reinvestment Fund bill being pushed through the legislature. Senate President Neville James said the fund was in response to a situation where many of the nonprofit entities that benefit from appropriations in the miscellaneous section of the budget were being adversely impacted for various reasons. The initial funding was realized in Act 7758 in the amount of $1.5 million. During a Committee of Finance hearing on September 8, 2015, the committee was informed of an unanticipated $7 million cover-over revenue rebate during fiscal year 2015, which was the source of the aforementioned appropriation. By adopting Bill 31-0299, Senator James said the legislature has exercised its authority as the appropriating arm of government and is looking forward to playing a part in the critical services our nonprofit organizations provide throughout the territory. Meanwhile, Senator Kenneth Gittens said he is taken aback by the misinformation being spread throughout the territory and beyond. He said he has heard allegations of these monies being campaign slush funds, allegations of connections to the ArcLight agreement support, and all other types of erroneous information. He says that this will somehow be a self-serving fund. Senator Gittens also said those who will benefit from the funds will be our youth organizations, our community-based organizations, schools, and other nonprofit organizations who turn to the legislature seeking financial support for a number of activities and causes over the course of any given year that they cannot personally sustain. Here's more.
The members of this institution made decisions regarding these funds in good faith and with the best interests of the people of this territory at heart. I urge residents to be wary of those who seek to misinform and encourage you to seek out the truth as we continue to strive collectively for a better Virgin Islands.
The Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs informs the public of the Consumer Action Handbook that is free online, and they say should shortly be made available in hard copy to the public at the offices of the department. The Consumer Action Handbook, updated each year, is a free resource guide that provides general information on shopping for goods and services and tips about your consumer rights. The handbook information helps you file a complaint about a purchase and includes a sample complaint letter that you can use and send to a company. It also includes a consumer assistance directory with contact information for consumer protection offices, agencies, and other customer service departments at many national corporations. You can call the department for more information. Senator Novel Francis Jr. is urging speedy action to bring Virgin Islands driver's licenses into compliance with Real ID standards in light of the Department of Homeland Security's intention to restrict the use of driver's licenses for domestic air travel if the license is not Real ID compliance. Since taking office, Francis, who is the chair of the Committee on Homeland Security, Public Safety and Justice, has monitored the Real ID issue. He recently met with Mr. Lawrence Olive, who's the director of the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, to receive a status update. The Department of Homeland Security has indicated that it will soon make a decision. If announced, there would be a 120-day window before the law is enforced. Count on 2 to keep you updated. Well, the verdict is in for Juan Louis Hospital on St. Croix, and it's the end of months of worry for the hospital after the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services did a major survey of the hospital in December. The federal agency has determined that Juan F. Louis passed the tests. NEWS2's April Knight has more.
Juan Louis Hospital will not be needing that 1-month extension from CMS after all. On Monday, the hospital announced that it has achieved compliance with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Very happy to announce this because it is very important for this hospital to continue being certified.
The threat of decertification hung over the hospital for more than a year. In September 2014, CMS sent notice that it will terminate Juan Louis' participation in the federal health programs within a month. This means CMS would not reimburse the hospital for care, a devastating potential blow to JFL's already struggling finances. After giving the hospital time to implement a systems improvement agreement, CMS did a final survey last month to determine if the hospital is now compliant, and Juan Louis officials are happy with the results.
What this has demonstrated is that, once again, we can claim that the people who work here can work in any hospital in the United States of America. And that we have the skill, we have the talent, we have the ability, and we have the dedication to be a premier institution providing quality healthcare services to all who need it.
But there's still some work to be done. CMS pointed out some deficiencies and told the hospital to make a plan of correction by January 14th.
Medical staff accountability. There were some citations regarding patient rights from an informed consent standpoint, medical records, timely completion of those records, and making sure that we have therapeutic diets for all of our patients.
Nonetheless, JFL officials say CMS's decision speaks to the hospital's efforts to become a top-notch medical facility in the Caribbean.
We want to make this into a hospital that not only St. Croix can be proud of, but the entire Virgin Islands and the entire Caribbean.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
The deficiencies mentioned earlier are only a few of the citations by CMS, according to Juan F. Louis. They need to address deficiencies in 11 areas. Turn our attention to crime reports. On Sunday, January 3rd, Ashley Roseboom, 22, of Yetsgata, was arrested at the Traffic Bureau and charged with driving under the influence. Roseboom failed the standardized field sobriety test with an alcohol level of 0.184 and was arrested for being involved in an auto collision that took place in the vicinity of Veterans Drive. Bail for Ashley Rosenboom was set at $500 by the order of the court, and unable to post bail, she was remanded to the Bureau of Corrections pending her advice of rights hearing. Turn our attention overseas. President Obama today announced a series of executive actions designed to reduce gun violence, including expanding background checks for buyers. Meanwhile, the Republicans, including House Speaker Paul Ryan, says the move is an abuse of power. Diane Gallagher is in Washington, D.C. with more.
That's why we're here today. Not to debate the last mass shooting, but to do something to try to prevent the next one.
President Barack Obama detailing his multiple executive actions on gun control, encouraging states to report people who shouldn't be able to get guns, and expanding background checks for some private sales. Republicans on the campaign trail, though, have railed against the president's plan.
President Obama is once again going to abuse his power.
When I'm elected president, on my first day behind that desk, those orders are gone.
Obama's proposals to ramp up mental health care and add hundreds of FBI and ATF agents to better enforce current laws and focus on background checks, that will all require millions in funding, which must be secured by Congress. So, surrounded by families and victims from mass shootings, the president made an emotional plea.
From every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad.
In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. And keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. As we can see, the Dow is up at 9, NASDAQ down 11, S&P 500 up at 4. Coming up on News 2, Acting Commissioner of Health Juan Figueroa-Seville of the Virgin Islands Department of Health is advising the people of the territory that the Puerto Rico Department of Health reported the first locally acquired case of Zika virus infection in Puerto Rico. What you need to know. Welcome back. Governor Kenneth Mapp has named Nicole Bolentini to be his next Director of Communications. Bolentini's appointment is effective Thursday, January 7th, and she replaces Kimberly Jones, who has been appointed Deputy Commissioner of Health. Jones had served as the Government House Chief Spokesperson during the first year of the Mapp Potter administration. A licensed practical nurse with credentials in behavioral health, Jones says her focus as Deputy Commissioner of Health will be health promotion, prevention, and education. Prior to joining the administration, she had worked at the Governor Juan Luis Hospital as a peritoneal dialysis nurse. Well, there has been one reported case of the Zika virus found in Puerto Rico. The Zika virus is closely related to the dengue, West Nile, and yellow fever. The Zika virus can be contracted through the bite of an Aedes mosquito. These same mosquitoes are found throughout tropical regions of the world and are also the same mosquitoes that spread the chikungunya viruses. Here's more.
Virgin Islands Department of Health is advising the territory that there has been one reported case of the Zika virus found in Puerto Rico. The CDC has issued a travel notice advising travelers to both the United States Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico to take measures and precautions to keep themselves safe of mosquito bites. The Zika virus is spread through the bites of mosquitoes. The common symptoms of the virus include fever, rash, joint pain, and red eyes. These ailments last for about a week. However, the Zika virus infection is being investigated in Brazil in connection with subsequent birth defects. Dr. Esther Ellis, an epidemiologist with the Virgin Islands Department of Health, spoke more about the virus.
Chikungunya and Zika virus are spread by the same mosquito, the Aedes species mosquito, and they have very similar symptoms, but Zika virus symptoms are much more mild, but fever, rash, joint pain can be associated with Zika virus as well. Well, the most recent outbreak actually started in May of 2015 in Brazil, but this virus originated from Easter Island.
The Brazilian Health Ministry reported that 739 babies were born last year with microcephaly, an abnormal smallness of the head, which also causes developmental issues in children. As of now, there has not been any reported cases of infection in the United States Virgin Islands, nor on the mainland. The Virgin Islands Department of Health is taking preventative measures to keep the public safe, Dr. Ellis explains.
So I'd just like to let the public know that mosquito nets are available. If you'd like to receive a free mosquito net from MCH, Maternal and Child Health, you can get one either from Charles Harwood on St. Croix or the Niski Center by the Niski Center on St. Thomas.
Stephanie Brown reporting for News 2.
And the correct pronunciation is Zika virus. Now, suspicions have arisen in French Polynesia, linking the Zika virus to reports of malformations among fetuses and newborns, and that's according to the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. The traditional date for the Three Kings holiday has been January 6th since 1970, the celebration. The holiday marks the biblical adoration of baby Jesus by the three kings, also known as the three wise men. The wise men traveled for 12 days to present baby Jesus with gifts. Now, this holiday is widely celebrated by the Latin and Hispanic community in the territory. On St. Croix, goodwill is celebrated at the Christian Rican Breakfast and Tramp. The event is an anticipated and favored event during the territory's holiday season. The Christian Rican Breakfast and Tramp will take place tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. from Bass and Triangle, and it will end at the Christian Shan Vegetable Market, where hundreds pour out to enjoy local music and food, and we will have highlights from that event. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.